Hi everyone. It is a cold February morning, rainy, here in New York. I'm gonna try today to do one more of these, and I'm really excited about this one because I want to talk about guitar. So I'm gonna try to move as fast as I can, but I want to make the crazy attempt to put one guitar lesson together that can be something that you can return to in your journey, your guitar journey, that talks about concepts, like general concepts, and coexist with the massive amount of information on the internet that you can turn to for details. The internet is a scary place for guitar lessons because it seems like so much like, where do I start? At the same time, when I was learning guitar, there was no access to resources, nor was there any access to resources when Jimi Hendrix was learning the guitar, or Django Reinhardt, other than talking to people. So I just want to give a ground zero wide basis for some things that I think that have helped me about guitar. If you can't get it all at once, maybe if I'm going too fast, you can go away for a year and then come back. Hopefully the video will still exist and maybe something will click. That's my hope here. So I'm not going to teach specific scales and stuff because they're everywhere. If you want to learn a D minor scale at the 12th fret, just type in D minor scale at the 12th fret and 50,000 pictures will come up. I'm trying to give you the basis for tying all this stuff together in a musical way so that this video can, in my hopes, will coexist with all of that. So here we go. I'm assuming if you're watching this, you have a guitar. I do have this Paul Languedoc guitar. He was my roommate, he built it. You don't need a Paul Languedoc guitar. Paul was my friend, and I feel a connection to this, but I love every kind of guitar, Strats and Telecasters, and acoustic guitars. So the first thing I'd suggest is meet your guitar. Your guitar is your second set of vocal cords. It's unique to every other guitarist, and the goal here is not to sound like anyone else. It's to sound like you and to liberate your feelings from your heart to the world so people can hear them. That's all this is. It's a feeling liberating machine. Miles Davis said, quite famously, the hardest thing to do in music is sound like yourself. Thank you, Miles. Yes. That's because you think you're supposed to play like everyone else. But no, what the world needs is for you to play like you. Whatever that is, okay? Tuning the guitar. I learned to tune the way people tuned before there were tuners, which is this. And listening, and then making the adjustments. Again, it's on the internet, but you tune at the 5th fret, you go, but you listen. That's pretty good, actually. B.B. King said in an interview when tuners first came on the scene, and I had been playing for years when tuners became accessible, that he worried that people didn't tune their guitars anymore by ear. And that was why he was hearing a lot of people not bending to pitch when they played like blues and stuff. Like, they weren't getting up there because he worried that they weren't training their ears by tuning their guitar. And I thought that was an amazing insight from the guy, the greatest blues player who ever lived, the one-note stinger, the person who invented our modern day electric guitar. So I'm gonna suggest that you try tuning your guitar like that. Listen for the beats. It trains your ear, okay? And then, test yourself against your tuner. Put the tuner on or whatever, and then see how close you got. And so it's an ear training thing. So part of getting to know your guitar is learn to tune your guitar. I suggest that. The next part of getting to know your guitar is, as you learn chords, if you learn a C chord and you look first position C chord and you learn it, you're gonna, as an early guitar player, get calluses. Don't worry about it. I would suggest that you keep going. Okay? Calluses, once you get past the callus phase, it seems to never come back. So, another quote, Winston Churchill. If you're going through hell, keep going. I hope you'll get past the callus phase so you can get into the fun. And the way to do that is just keep playing. And again, maybe there's, what do I do about these calluses? And somebody might have some suggestion. For me, it was just keep playing. Even when we were playing at Nectar's, I would still get some finger issues. Eventually they vanished and they never seemed to come back. And that's something I've heard from other guitar players. So hang in there through the calluses. Next thing I'm going to show you is when you're playing the guitar, what I strive for is a relaxed, my arm, I want everything relaxed, right hand and left hand. Now I usually practice standing up because the kind of guitar playing I do is with bands, so I'm standing, so I want to be in the position that I'm going to play in. Unless I'm playing acoustic, I like to sit down when I'm playing acoustic for the solo acoustic shows, so I practice sitting down. I'm going to sit here, but I would normally kind of adjust my strap to where my arms, my shoulders are relaxed, right? Some people put their pinky and let their hand float for the right hand. I do that sometimes, and sometimes I have my palm down here. You have to practice to the speed and to the level where you start feeling tension and try to relax. So, segment 4 of this lesson is try to relax. Your left hand would be sort of thumb here, and I try to keep one finger hovering gently over every fret, even when I move my hand around, so that I get, to play these phrases relaxedly, I like to keep my hand, you move from the arm, you hover, just think relaxation. And please, if I may make a suggestion, learn to be friends with this finger, the pinky. Another impediment that I see is that if you play only with 3 fingers, you can, it's perfectly legal and everything, bend with fingers, which is a blues kind of way to do it. I think you're doing yourself a disservice because there's 4 fingers on this hand, and this is a great one. How do you do this? This is going to be a fun thing that I want to teach you. The way you do it, or the way I suggest doing it, is like this. I'm going to show you a pattern of numbers that I call the 1, 2, 3, 4s. Very, very powerful finger warm-up exercise, which I've used for years. I'm going to hold it up, and hopefully you can just take a screenshot. So this is I typed these for everybody. So these are the 1, 2, 3, 4s. Oops, sorry. Where the heck? Oh, there it is. If you can take a screenshot of that. Okay, is that in there? All right. That looks like a lot of numbers. It's not. All it is start every combination of these 4 fingers, every combination of the numbers 1, 2, 3, and 4, going up from 1, 2, 1, 2 to 3 to 4, 3, 4, 3 without ever repeating. It never goes 2, 2 or 3, 3. So what that does for you is this. If I do it on one string, it goes 1, 2, like 1, 2, 1, 2. That's the first one. Then 1, 2, 1, 3. Then it goes 1, 2, 1, 4. Then it goes 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4, 1, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 3. It never repeats, and it goes through every possible combination of the ways that you can move your fingers. So, the other day, I looked on some guitar tab site and I saw this young guitarist who was like 14 or something playing You Enjoy Myself, and I wanted to write this. I'm so sorry I don't have the name at my fingertips right now, but this kid was killing it. It was so great. Oh, God, I was honored. And he was doing that bit, right? And I noticed when I was watching him that, of course, this is what happens. His hand was moving around. I wanted to climb through the screen and tell him about the 1, 2, 3, 4s. It's like, man, I can fix that so easily for you. What this does is you're relaxed. You put on some music, right? Put on some music. Look at that sheet and just memorize it. Memorize. Here's the Durger band. Put on some fun music and start doing the 1, 2, 3, 4s. Now I go up and down the neck doing these patterns just to start the day and warm up or before a show. So like 1. That's all 1, 2s. I'm sorry. Once you've memorized these numbers, it gives you this whole universe of warm-up things you can do. So oftentimes for my right hand, while my left hand is warming up, I divide rhythm like we did in the first lesson. So 1, that's pretty fast, but 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. You get it? I'm dividing rhythm. I'm trying to keep my right hand relaxed. In the meantime, my hand is moving 1, 2. Or you can go. Those are the 1, 2s. What's going to happen is eventually you're going to get to a number, 3, 2, 4, 1 or whatever. And your hand's going to go, ugh. Because certain muscle movements are unfamiliar. You've never moved your hand that way. This exhausts every possibility of muscle movement of your left hand, right? And when you get to that one where you see your hand, you can stand in front of the mirror if you want. Just keep it relaxed. So you're like, let's do the 2s. Like 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1. I usually do a couple of them at least, like on the left hand. So 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 2, 4, 2, 1, 3, 1. That might be one where 2, 1, 3, 4, or whatever. You'll find one where you get hung up. At that point, relax. Groove it. Work on that one for a bit. Hang out there a little longer. 3, 2, 4, 1. These are all 3, 2, 4, 1. Hear me dividing rhythm? This is 3, 2, 4, 1. Triplets. 16th. Now slow down. 3, 2, 4, 2. 3, 2, 4, 2. Now, first thing I'm feeling, like if my hand's going all over the place, rest, relax, relax hand. This is too fast, by the way. I'm giving you bad advice. Slow down. 3, 2, 4, 3. You can work on vibrato with every finger. Make it sound like music. Make it sound like music, 3, 4, 1, 2. Watch that pinky, right? See that? That was better. Okay? Once you've exhausted all this, just make it music. These are just a way to move your fingers when you're warming up. It's an incredible warm-up. If you go through all of them, you're gonna be like, oh my God, my hand is so loose. Loosen, relax, and do every motion. Don't work that hard. Let those fingers just hover. Relax, relax, and vibrato. 3, 4. And you will free this finger. Then you do it with your right hand. So C major chord. All the 1, 2, 3, 4s with flat picking. Sounds like this. 1, 2, 1, 2. 1, 1, 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3. 1, 2, 1, 4. 1, 2, 3, 1. 1, 2, 3, 2. You can do 2 notes on each one. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 2. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 4, 1. 1, 2, 4, 1. 1, 2, 4, 2. 1, 2, 4, 2. 1, 2, 4, 3. 1, 2, 4, 3. 1, 2, 4, 3. 1, 3, 1, 2. 1, 3, 1, 2. Then do it with finger picking if you're on the acoustic. 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 1, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, etc. It's a lot of information fast, but it isn't. I'm just giving you, that's a little tool. You got to be creative. Use it to your advantage. Use it to your advantage. It's just moving your fingers. Find one in that pattern. You got a screenshot, just learn it. You know, rewind, memorize it. It doesn't take that long because it's like counting to 4. It's like counting to 4, you know. It'll take you a day. You'll never forget it again the whole rest of your life. And you know, when you're nervous, you're like gonna go play with your friends or whatever, you got a gig, something like that. It's a great meditation way to just get both your hands moving, right? You get your right hand. 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 1, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, etc. Okay. That's the 1, 2, 3, 4s. I'm going fast, but I know you have a rewind button. There's one guitar book worth buying. One. Save your money. Don't buy any others. Sorry if I'm being, it's true. It's The Advancing Guitarist by Mick Goodrich. The Advancing Guitarist by Mick Goodrich. Mick was a great guitar teacher who taught many jazz greats, like Pat Metheny, John Scofield maybe. John, if I was wrong about that, please forgive me. But many. In this book, he talks about one of the most important things that I've learned about guitar, which is learn to play all of your scales and modes with one finger on one string. This is incredibly powerful. I do it when we're playing live. It's freed the guitar for me. His theory was that the original guitar was a unitar. I was alluding to that in the lesson the other day with the cave people. And that a piano is a straight line, you can see the chords. A trumpet goes in a straight line where you go up to the note. The original guitar, and if you listen to sitar players, they play like this, incredibly complex stuff, where you can see the intervals and understand scales because you're going in a straight line on one string. So I'll use the pinky, one finger, and if you're gonna play a C major scale, you have to see the intervals, first of all. Second of all, you'll play melodies. See what I'm saying? You just start playing melodies right away. And there's so much you can do with one note. You can vibrato. And then not vibrato. Vibrato. Based on how you want your emotion, you can bend down, you know, still with your pinky, then practice with your third finger, then practice with your first finger, then practice with your, right? Then maybe allow yourself 2 fingers after a while. You can hammer on. You can pull off, right? And you explore all the music you can make with simplicity. So I got that from Mick Goodrich, The Advancing Guitarist. Incredible book. Incredible book. But then he talks about launching out into all your modes and all your scales with one finger. What are all these scales? Well, they're all over the internet. But this is a ground zero base that you can come back to. Okay? What about chords, Trey? I can't play one note on one string all the time. Well, actually, you can, but... Okay, we talked about that the other day. So chords and scales and knowing your beautiful instrument, my suggestion would be what we talked about from C to shining C. 1, think about melody and simplicity the way Mick Goodrich suggested. 2, if you do what I said the other day, which is C to shining C, that would be, let's start at the easiest scale, a C major scale. Identify all the C's on your neck. There are 12. There they are. And learn to connect those C's with a simple major scale and a chord. Right? And now here's 2 other C's. Let's connect those. And so on, up and down the neck. Okay? If you get hung up in a certain position, you're like, oh my gosh, I'm having a hard time fingering this. Well, just type in C major scale, you know, whatever, at the, right? At the 8th fret. And 1,000 pictures will come up to help you. So, but conceptually, I would suggest that the goal would be to have, and this isn't going to happen overnight, but to have a scale and a chord in each position for C. So, right? Right? Etc. All the way up and down the neck. And a chord in each position. C, F, B flat, E flat, A flat, D flat, which is, you know, C sharp, right? Etc. Until you've got all the chords filled in. Using the same system. Each of the 12 notes, you identify where they are and then connect them. And eventually, pretty quickly, you'll see what I just did, this kind of connection where you can float up and down in any key and play a scale, a major scale and a major chord. This is not going to happen overnight, but it's hopefully, I have found in 30 plus years of playing that it's a simple and holistic way of looking at the neck of the guitar. I want the impediments of the neck to be out of the way so that my heart can play what I want and need to play all over the neck, right? So the next thing I would say is style is not substance. So I think in the 1700s, composers wore wigs with like powder or whatever, I don't know what the hell, frilly shirts, right? And in the 90s, people wore plaid shirts and whatever they grunge or whatever it was. And, in the 80s, people wore spandex and had bangs and long hair. And it's just style. Punk rockers sneered their upper lip, and it was all the same stuff. It's all just, that's just fashion. That's just clothes. And you know what I mean? The truth of the matter is when you uncover all this music, it's all exactly the same. It's like 3 chords and the same beat, and there's nothing new under the sun, right? So I'm with Miles Davis. I want to hear what you sound like as a person and what you have to say. That's the only thing that interests me, is connecting with you, right? So style is not substance. And subsequently, listen to everything. Anything that you hear, you can take it and then put it onto the guitar. So like, I don't know, if you're gonna learn like a great bluegrass riff or something. Oh, it's a good one, right? Slow it down, nose it around the internet. Awesome bluegrass riff. Cool, learn it, right? Now, in order to know that riff, it helps to have this finger. That's why I did that exercise earlier on. It also helps to be able to try to play it, somewhere else, or I don't know, play it in all 12 keys. First of all, play it with a beat. I'm not gonna start it right now. Relax, right? Move it up and down the neck. Forget it, learn it, forget it, and have it in your body. And now that kind of general motion becomes free, sort of in your body. And if you learn like a blues riff, or you do the same thing. I usually kind of go up and down all. Usually over music or a beat. So then think about the earlier building blocks we used, C to shining C, playing on one string and all that stuff. So if I love this riff, I want to be able to play it here. Right? One string. The low part's gonna be hard. It doesn't go down that low. But I'm doing this fast, but I'm trying to show you, like, take this information and, take these building block pieces that I put in the beginning and, combine them and use them and use them to open more doors. Yeah. I mean, other things that are popping into my head right now, I should plan better for this, but I like something that Joe Pass said once, the greatest jazz fingerstyle guitarist who ever lived. He said, never play anything hard was his biggest lesson on the guitar. Amazing. And that sounds, again, counterintuitive, but it isn't. What he meant by that was that he used to do these duets with Ella Fitzgerald. He would float along beautifully, right? But his feeling was, get the finger impediments out of the way. So find an easier way to figure that chord. Don't learn some hard chord, because then you're going to want to play it. And it's going to sound like, it's not going to sound like flow. It's going to sound like something you practice that you want to show off, right? So when you watch him, he's like sitting there, like he just sits here, like his hand looks like this. He just took all the irrelevant notes out of the chords and played little 2-note chords. Always rhythm first, notes second, always listening with his ears. And his saying was, never play anything hard. As shocking as this may sound, I get that feeling. I feel like Eddie Van Halen understood Joe Pass's comment. Even though it's the hardest stuff ever, I can see the work that he did to make it lay easily and finger easily on the guitar so that it flowed. It was like beautiful, and he didn't get hung up, but that takes a lot of time of just, you gotta become friends with your guitar and like get inside this stuff. What else can I add to this? Maybe, see if I wrote a couple things down last night, because that would be fun to talk about. Yeah. I guess I'll just end with this. So, did I mention? Yeah. So, the most important thing is the Miles Davis thing. The hardest thing in music is to sound like yourself. I think there are some really basic building blocks that you're going to have to address at some point in time. The basic fundamentals of harmony, chords, right? But I don't like looking at it as this big, I have a test tomorrow memorization game. I like it more like, oh, C note, oh, major, right? Cool. I can learn that. I can learn a C major chord on the guitar. I mean, pretty much anyone can. And I do have the internet to help me. And then C9, what is that? That's complicated. Well, it isn't. It's just, there's 8 notes in the scale. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. The next note is the 9th note. It's the same as this one. 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. If you know your scales from C to shining C, your finger will go to the 9th note. It's the next one up. And you look at your guitar. You've already done your C to shining C major chords on everywhere on the neck. So you know, oh, that's an E note. I mean, a D note. I'm sorry, a D note. Oh, a C9 chord is just a C chord with a D note crammed into it. Right? Well, you already know your C chords because you did this earlier building block exercise. You know them all the way up and down the neck. Maybe I'll cram that D note into that chord. Where can I do that? Okay, let's do it here. We'll start here. I mean, there's the D note. There's your C chord. And here's the D note. Oh, I wish I could stick that into the chord. Good thing my pinky is strong because I did the 1, 2, 3, 4s. No problem. My pinky goes wherever I tell it to. There it is. Right? Now here's this chord, C. I wish I could put an E note in this, a D note in this. I'm sorry, a 9th. Oh, there it is, right there. All I got to do is lift this up, cram this pinky finger down, and I got a 9 chord. Good thing I did those pinky strengthening exercises, because this is really easy. Here it is here. There's the 9th. Good thing my pinky's strong, because you need the pinky for all this. It's funny. Here's the major chord here. Here's the 9th. Good thing my first finger's strong, because it's no problem for me to do that. So then you end up with this. These are all 9th chords now. Right? Now you put your beat on and you start doing that same thing again, the C to shining C exercise, but now it's with ninth chords. You know? All the way up and down the neck. Oops, sorry. And then do it with F, right? F9. Right? Etc. So this is now a doorway open to a path for learning these chords and scales all the way up and down the neck. Now, what about, how does that tie in with Mick Goodrich's one string thing? Okay, well, if you're in C and you're using one finger, this one, you're playing melodies. Well, we just learned our C9 chord by putting the ninth note on top of the regular old C chord. So I think when I'm doing my melodies, I'm gonna hang out and get to be friends with that ninth note. There it is, right? The D note. You can even make a tape or a recording or something where you make it the melody note. Boom. Now you're going to be friends with the ninth note. Okay? Well, what about that thing you said about B.B. King and tuning and all that stuff? Well, the best thing about the guitar is that you can bend notes. That's the best thing about the guitar, other than the fact that you can slide chords around. That's the other two great things in your arsenal. So, wow, you can bend notes. Cool. That's where all the vocal, that's my favorite thing to do, of course, most people's. So now you're on your C9 chord. Bend. Both fingers. Bend up to pitch, like BB said. You know, whatever. Work on vibrato. Make it sound like a human voice. Play the... You know what I'm saying? Do it everywhere, from D to shining D. Here's all the Ds. Well, you already did this exercise, right? So you know where all the Ds are. No, I'm not doing great because I'm making the... See how they're all starting to tie together? That's what I'm trying to do here for you. If you get hung up on anything, the C9th chord, I'd rather have you figure it out yourself than learn it from some pattern that somebody told you, because I think if you figure it out yourself, you understand it. You're like, this is a C chord, look at the neck and find the ninth chord. Find the fingering, do what Joe Pass told you. Don't play anything hard. Find the easiest fingering possible, okay? Do what B.B. King told you. Make it sound like a human voice. bend to pitch, use your ears if you're going to bend up to the ninth, right? Do the C to shining C thing. Where's the ninth all over the neck? So I have the ninth everywhere. Well, here it's here, here it's here, here it's here, and here, and here, and here, or, right? That's C to shining C. And then your finger exercise was, you did that so that when you're doing this flowy thing, you don't ever get hung up, you know? And in terms of bending and all that stuff, practice bending. A lot, practice bending a lot. Think about that pitch, bend to pitch. Okay, that's it. And what I'll say about sliding chords around is that it is the great gift of guitar players, is that, you know, most people when they change keys have to go to whole different fingerings and all this stuff, and we can just go and play in that key. But without that other kind of path that I just showed, sometimes it ends up being kind of limited in the scope of melody and chords and stuff like that, because you always have to jump to this one position. So what I'm trying to show you is like, open the door to the guitar and off you go. So that's it. Good luck, and I hope that you enjoy playing as much as I do, and I hope that in some small way, maybe one of those many things I just said opened some kind of door and pathway to more fun with the guitar. Okay, thank you.